This is a tutorial on how to allocate regions of grid cells for regression analysis. We want to be able to define sets of cells which will be modified automatically by the regression program in order to find the best possible match for the observed historical OL data. So we want to use a preprocessor to define the regions of cells for the regression analysis. In this example, I'm going to open up initially the waterflood V42 example from the Exodus samples folder and show you in the grid cell data section the allocation of cells using, first of all, the selected grid areas. So there are three ways to define regression cells. These are the selected grid areas, edit region numbers, and fractured LGR planes. These three ways will be shown in this tutorial. Now, when we go to selected grid areas, taking any parameter, for example porosity, we show the porosity, and we want to be able to select a grid area, so we use this option here to select grid area. This select grid area option, we choose to select multiple areas, and for region 1, select the area 1. Let's say this is for allocated for let's say region 1, and we want to be able to use one of these options, line or filled rectangle or closed loop, to be able to define the range of cells. Let's use the closed loop. For example, we can use any of this and define the region of cells around this one as region 1. And if we can make modifications, we can add on more cells, we can select irregular regions of cells, and then we can save it. We can define in the second one, region 2, for another region 2, and allocate cells, say this cells for region 2, and we can modify that by adding more cells, and we can save it. Now region 1 and region 2 can overlap, and this if you're using different parameters, say porosity here and permeability here, that's not a concern. If you're using the same parameter, for example porosity for this region 1 and region 2, then the overlapping cells will cause a problem, because it's quite likely that the same cell will be modified repeatedly for multiple regression zones. This is an error. So be careful that if you use SGA errors, and if you use the same porosity or same parameter for more than one well regression, you may overlap these regions and may not be able to get a good answer for the regression value. But the other way is to use edit region number. So in edit region number, we want to display, select parameter, and choose edit region number, ERN. edit region number, ERN. If you choose that edit region number, then we have to enter new values for edit region number. Let's say we go from 0 to 10 for that range to display, 0 to 10. We can allocate range of cells. This is region number 2, and this is region number 1, and they can apply over multiple layers, 1 and 2, 1 here, and this is 2 here. We can make this irregular by applying 2 to that, and we can make this to be 3, for example. And so these edit region numbers cannot overlap because they have only one ERN value. So again, edit region numbers don't overlap. Each cell can only have one edit region number. So that's the second way to do region numbers. Now, there's another tutorial on how to allocate edit region numbers using the special form for revelations. But just to show you that that if we, in this case here, form close, in this case here, we do not have any historical data. There's no historical well data in this case here. If you open another case where there is historical well data, there's historical well data. In this case here, there is historical well data for 3 wells. If we have historical well data and then we go and display edit region numbers, we get another form, ERN form. And just to show you that in a different tutorial, we get another form, an edit region number. And this only appears when you have historical data available in the data set. So the last way to define cells for regression is through using fractured LGR planes. Fractured LGR planes. And I want to open a different data set. If I open another data set here, which is this Revelations Movie Build 3D Frac that. If I open that data set, I can show you the grid cell data, grid cell data, for example, porosity. And in this case here, I'm going to create a hydraulic fractured well with 3 fracs. And this form here is for hydraulic fractures LGR. For this well with 3 locations at this IJ positions, I'm going to create vertical fracs, and I'm going to call each frac a separate frac zone, so that I can modify those properties of the frac zones in order to get a match of the fractured permeability to match observed history. So the frac 1, frac 2, frac 3. These are the frac zones, and they could be all the same for the same well. Like this could be all frac number 1 for well 1 and frac number 2 for well 2. But to make it short here, I've created 3 different fracs for the same well, and they're going to be the different zones, just to show you that. So I'm going to zero for this build. I'm going to build this frac model and form modify and close. This will build the frac data, and you can see the shape of the fracs. This is the fracs, 3 fracs for the same well. And now if I look at edit tables, time dependent parameters, there's a new column here. It's got regression frac number, and you can see it goes from 1 for this particular frac from 3 to 5 for 3 and 5, and for frac number 2 for 6 and 5, frac number 3 for 9 and 5. So 9, 6, 3, and 5. So this allows us to define the frac zones. So there are three ways to define cells for regression: SGA, and the region numbers. And this is the second tutorial to show you how to interactively allocate ERN for each well, and then the fractured LGR planes. Three ways. Thank you very much for your attention.